I am God. I am Thor. I am making this video because there's a lot I want to talk about. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I went to bed very late this morning. Guess it was about 6 in the morning, something like that. I had a nice long lion. Yeah, I had a lion. Yeah, I didn't eat a lion, but, well, alien, or whatever, look, yeah, it's almost 4 o'clock, yeah, in the afternoon, Sunday. Well, I've been posting a lot to my Facebook page and my Twitter X page. It's interesting because I post things to X. I'm like, yeah, it's on my X page. It's like, no, not my ex-girlfriend's page, but, all my ex-friends or ex, whatever. XXX, X. It's a witchy name. If you've watched my videos before, I hope you have, because I explain a lot and I hate having to repeat myself all the time. It gets very annoying. What I explain is very complicated. And so I start to sound like a broken record because I'm constantly saying the same things again and again and again and again and again. It's really annoying. Anyway, I have this t-shirt on today. I have about 500 t-shirts, believe it or not. Maybe I should do a video and show you all my t-shirts. I bought it for the purpose of magic because, well, it's me trying to break magic curses. This is a Golden Dawn thing, right? So you got the triangle. They say it represents the triune God, the Trinity, the pyramid, and here's the cross. Okay, it's an interesting. So because it sort of connects with what I was thinking. I was posting the Conan films. Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer. I really want to talk about those films because of all the magic that was happening in them and the witchcraft. And, if you have, so Con, An. Well, you know what An, us is, right? An, us. Well, there's a God. People say there's a God. Then they have a name for a God. And that God is called Uranus. Uranus. Okay, in Greek mythology? Yeah, pretty sure it's Greek mythology. Whatever, right? So, how many hundreds of names are there? Thousands, blah, 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 blah. Think about it. If that's true, right? So if God is called Uranus, then that means your anus is God. Do you get it? In terms of witchcraft, what everyone is agreed upon is that everyone's anus is God. Do you get it? God, my arse. I'm God, my arse. You understand? Do you get it? I've done a lot of explaining. And I'm going to do a lot of explaining. This could be a really long video. Anyway, I wanted to talk about, and that's the thing, Con-An. Well, if you because con can mean, well, you know what a con man is, right? Someone who cons somebody else. And an, well, anus, right? It is a name. It's a word. It's it has different meanings. But in terms of magic, it can represent anus. Because the anus is called an us. And you know what us means, right? If I say my birth certificate name is Grant, okay? On my birth certificate, my name is Grant Salvin, okay? And people say, grant us, grant us, grant us. God, grant us the serenity to understand things, yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. My name is You know, my evil mother gave me my name. She gave me the name Grant. So whenever anyone does an exchange with me, yeah, it's like, who's Grant? Which one's Grant then? You get it? It's all about stealing power from me, because I'm God. Okay, so let's get into this about Conan. So I was going to say, you can rearrange the words. So you could have it as Ankhon. Ankhon. So I've got an Egyptian ankh right here. See that? It looks like a crucifix, doesn't it? But you notice it's like a hoop. A hoop. You see this hoop? You know, it's like yeah, it's a hoop. It's not round. It's almost like it's oval shaped, right? You know, I see this as something that has reference to anal sex. You know, this is a broken hoop. You know what? You know, that was me. Yeah, I was Jesus. I was nailed to, yeah, to, you know, to, in magic. And, you know, people even say it. When they go to the toilet, they say, I'm going for a number 1, or I'm going for a number 2, right? So number 2, you know, nailed. You know what nailed means? It has multiple meanings, you know? You know, when a guy says, hey, I nailed her last night. You know, nailed to is the cross. In terms of, you know, this is witchcraft, right? People are doing witchcraft. This is why people do what they do. Because there's light in the cross, okay? In tarot, okay, so the 19th card of the tarot deck of the major arcana, okay, so the 19th card is the Sun, okay? The Sun is a Leo card. So my grandmother, who's called Anne F. Reed, Anne F. Reed, right? She's an old woman now with dementia, dementia, yeah, you know, ropes, tie, yeah, demon tie. Yeah, she's got a spiritual, she's got demons. That's what she got, okay? She's demon, she's, yeah, crazy. Anyway, look, she's a Leo. So Leo is, you know, it's a fire sign. It's a star sign, right? Leo, fire sign. It's connected with the Strength card, which is a female woman, a woman with and a lion. And then you have the Sun card. And the Sun card is number 19, and it comes right before number 20. It precedes the number 20. So 19 is the letter S. S has a lot of significance. You know, Superman, he has S on his chest, right? It says S. Yeah. It represents the number 19. And it can represent the number 10, because 1 plus 9 is 10. And it can also represent the number 1. So you've got 1, which is magician, 10, which is the wheel of fortune, which is a round circle, yeah. And it's in magic. It's a reference to the anus. Okay, it's about sex magic. That's what it all is. It basically all of it is. That's exactly what it's about. All it's ever about, really. You know, aces, yeah, asses. You know, 9. And anyway, look, 19 is, it precedes 20. So 20 is T. T, okay? What's the letter T? Okay, so let's have a look at what does the letter T look like? What does the letter T look like? Do you understand? You see what this is? Yeah? And you notice, I don't know if you can see that, but at the top of the crucifix, you might be able to see, it says INRI. INRI. So that was, I don't know if you, yeah. Oh no. Yeah, it says here, INRI. So that was what was written above there was a, people say there was a sign above the head of Jesus on the crucifix, and it said something like "In Re." What does it exactly mean? It has something to do, it's like King of the Jews or something, isn't it? It's like an abbreviation or something. Something like that, isn't it? In Re. Well, Re, you have Mary, Rihanna, Mariana Trench, bottom of the ocean, the abyss. What else? There's a long list of things I could go on about, and I'll come back to this thing, right? I constantly repeat myself. Anyway, you have to understand that if you see, in sex magic, you have to, because of sex magic, you have to look at things and see where they are in relation to one another. Because, is it in reverse? Is it the other way around? Because, this is God. And when God turns around, dog. You get it? So because it gets flipped around. Okay? Dog is the opposite of God. Grant turns around and he's dog. He faces forward and he's God. It's how magic works. It's really, really annoying. It's just, it is what it is. But it is what, yeah, there you go. But it is what it is. Wow, what a rambly video so far. Okay, let me just have a little bit of nicotine because I think I need it. I've got my can of Relentless. Yeah, Lentless. So, what's the thing I want to talk about? So, the films, the Conan films, Conan the Barbarian, and Conan the Destroyer. So, let's talk about that. So, that was Arnold Schwarzenegger playing a guy called Conan. And, and the film is, his parents die. Okay, so his mother gets her head chopped off. And his dad dies. And there's the sword, is his father's sword. And, the father's sword. You know what Jesus said? The Bible, Jesus, you know what the sword of truth is, right? Read the Bible. Right? The double-edged sword, the sword of truth, the thord, the word. I've already spoken about, that's who I am. I'm God. I'm the word. I'm the thord. Yeah, and I'm explaining how the double-edged sword works. Double. What's a double? Yeah. Everyone wants to be a copycat. Copy. What happened to Job, right? After he was tormented by Satan, evil demons, yeah. Well, that's the thing. You sat on your ass. You sat on your Satan. You get it? The eye of the serpent. The eyes and, the thing down there that winks. Yeah, the little star, it winks. Yeah, you have the brown snake that comes out of it. Yeah, the chocolate brown snaky thing. Yeah. The thing that's cast to the earth. Yeah, like the dusty snake. The slivery little snake. Anyway, look. My channel is called I Am God Apophis. Apophis is a serpent. In magic, the eye is the one-eye symbolism. It refers to the anus. Okay, that's what it does. It refers to the anus. Okay. That's where the magic takes place. Okay? I mean, you look at a magician at an altar, you know, you have like a pentagram, pentacle thing, you know, and it's a star. You know, you have his star, and, you know, you have a wand, which represents fire. You have a sword that, you know, that's like air. You have a cup of water that represents water, a chalice of water, you know, and he's bringing the four elements together, and he's doing stuff with the you know, the star circle thing. Yeah, you know what I mean. And that's the thing. It's, you know, people who have anal sex. Well, they tend to put water in there to clean it out. You know what I mean? Then they got a stick. You know, with the fire stick, yeah. And then there's the sword. Well, the sword cuts. You know, Jesus said. Well, if you read what Jesus said, he says, "Do not think I have come to bring peace on earth, but a sword." Okay. There's a lot of crazy stuff. Okay. It's interesting. You know, I mean, a crucifix, right? I mean, you turn it upside down, right? It almost looks like a little sword, doesn't it? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's the tea shape. You know, what do witches do? They make tea. You know, they brew tea. You know, I've got a book about witches' tea. How, you know, witchcraft and tea. You know, and you got the witches who read tea leaves and stuff like that. Yeah. You know, and you listen, you know, have you ever listened to any tarot, you know, readers, you know, they go, "What's the tea, yo? What's the tea?" And this is the thing, right? Because, you know, like I said, nailed to the cross. So, you know, people are supposed to pick up their cross daily. They're supposed to. But the thing is that people are they're cheating their way through these things that they're supposed to do. So it appears, in terms of magic, you see, what they're doing is they're doing magic to pretend they're something they're not. And they're not even consciously aware of it, but the demons influence them to do the things, because it's all about you see, if everyone is using magic to appear like they're God, then everyone's gonna look around and say, "Oh, who's God then?" You know, when God's here, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm here," but no one wants to hear me. No one wants to recognize me, because they're all influenced by demons. They're all looking at each other instead of me. You know, it's a crazy situation. I am, like I've described myself, I'm the serpent on the pole. I'm the serpent on the pole that, if people don't pay attention to, the world will be destroyed. People will die. This world will only know destruction. Okay? Because I'm the source of life. And without me, all you have is destruction. Okay? So let's talk about Conan films, right? So it's really interesting, the witchcraft that they did with those films. I remember when my first memory of watching Conan the Barbarian, it was after my mum, when I was a little kid, so I would have been about 8 years old. And she came to me one night and she said to me, "Grant, do you mind if I'm gay?" And I said, "No, Mum, you do what you want. You know, whatever makes you happy." And I remember going to Kent, where her girlfriend lived at the time, who was called Jennifer Jenkins. She was a security guard at the building where my mum worked, I think. I think that's how they met. My mum was an investment bank lawyer. And so she started dating this woman, Jenny. And I went to her house, and her house was full of Lion King stuff. You know, she had like Lion King beach towels, and her favorite film was Lion King. She was totally obsessed with Lion King. Okay? The film, The Lion King, you know, the Disney films, right? The Disney film. It would have come out, you know, around that time. I was 8 years old. It would have been 8 or 9 years old. 8 years old, okay? And I remember lying in bed at her house, and I remember watching TV late at night, and I watched Conan in her house. Yeah, anyways. Bit young for that, but yeah, that's what I watched when I was a kid. I used to watch whatever I wanted, basically. Yeah, so the film really interesting because you see him get crucified in the film, right? So his parents die. He's a kid. His parents are murdered by Thulsa Doom, this black guy, who's like some sort of, you know, he can transform into a snake, into a serpent. And you know, and then you see Conan. He's, you know, he's a slave, and he's working on the wheel of pain. You know, he's like pushing this wheel that he's spinning. You know, I think it's like to grind, you know, it's like a mill or something like that. That he's, you know, anyway, you know, yeah. So, you know, and he becomes a warrior, right? A barbarian, and he's a thief, right? He's a thief. So he's got a sword. You know, he's a thief. And, you know, he's a thief in the night kind of guy, right? He's a thief and a thief in the night with a big sword. And he fights the serpent, doesn't he? He fights the serpent. So he kills a big serpent snake, right? And he gets this thing, this jewel, and I think it's a jewel, and it's called the Eye of the Serpent. Okay, and that's the thing. I'm God, and my anus is the serpent. Okay. Essentially, that's one way of understanding it. Okay, that's how the serpent is. You know, I'm Satan. I am Sat-an. I am, you know, where I sit, my an is the serpent. Okay. That's one way of explaining it. Okay. So, you know, he gets in Conan in the film, he gets the eye of the serpent, and he gives it to a woman. And she, you know, he loves that woman, right? And he gives the eye of the serpent to the woman, called Valeria. Valeria. That's spelled Valeria. And so what happens to her is she dies later in the film because Thulsa Doom. So basically what they do is there's a king, right, and he wants to get his, you know, so what happens is Valeria and Conan, they get together, and there's a king called King Osric, and his daughter has been kidnapped. His prince, you know, so the princess, his daughter, has been kidnapped and is under a spell, and she's in the temple of Set with Thulsa Doom, so the black serpent guy, right? And he asks Conan and his people, you know, there's his little group of people, right, to go save the princess. And so that's what they go to do. And so they go into the temple of Set. This is really interesting because This is very interesting. Witchcraft. So Set is an Egyptian god. I live in Somerset. Okay? You know, people have TVs, right? They have TV set top boxes. You know, you think, you know, you look at a race, a Formula One race, for instance, you know, it's ready, set, go, right? Does that mean they're all set? Do you get it? It's magic. So, and obviously all movies are filmed on set, okay? So it's a very witchy thing that they did in that film, right? So they invade the temple of Set, and they kidnap. Yeah, I don't like that word, kidnap. It's a very weird word, that, isn't it? Kidnap. Yeah. You see, the origin of that word is evil. That's what it is, really, if you think about it. Like, how did that word get, who decided that was going to be the word for kidnap? You know what I'm saying? Think about that one very carefully, and think about what it is that evil practitioners of magic, what do you think? Huh? What do you think they're doing? What kind of sick weirdos do you think they are? Think about that one, okay? I mean, the thing is, they want to be like God, and God wants to love his children. Do you get it? God wants to love his children. And then you have all the other crazy wizards and witches that want to be like God. How do they do that, do you think? Think about it. Okay? So, the thing is that when they go to the Temple of Set, they have a fight, they get the princess, they leave. And when they leave, Thulsa Doom, he gets a little snake and he straightens it out and he puts it in a bow and he shoots it at Valeria and she dies. And that's the thing, right? She died, and when she dies, she basically paid the price for the resurrection of Conan. Because you see, earlier what happened was when Conan met Thulsa Doom for the first time. Well, no, he met Thulsa Doom. There was like a cult. They infiltrated the cult people, right? They're all in white robes and stuff, and then the guards they grab Conan, bring him before Thulsa Doom, and Thulsa Doom talks to him about, riddle of steel and how flesh is stronger than steel and stuff like that. And then, one of his, followers, a woman, is sacrificed. He just tells her to jump off the cliff. She jumps off, she dies. And he's like, flesh is stronger than steel. And then, and then he says to the guards, he's like, take him away, crucify him. And they put him on the tree of woe. And that's where he's nailed to a tree. And, and then, a vulture tries to nibble at him, and then he kills the vulture with his teeth. And then, he gets rescued, but he's dead, okay? So they take him down from the tree of woe, but he's dead. And then Valeria, she wants him to come back to life. She speaks to a wizard. The wizard says, he'll do what he can. He does what he can. And, she said that she would pay the price for, because she loved Conan. She wanted Conan to be alive. And he comes back to life, okay? Yeah. So, what happened was, after they raided the temple of Set to steal the princess back, Valeria died. Now, Valeria is a really interesting thing, because I know, okay, Rihanna is very evil, okay? She's an evil woman, is what she is, okay? I'm talking about the singer, Rihanna. Robin Rihanna Fenty, okay? She's involved with some very evil stuff. I know. She's a very evil witch, is what she is. She was in a film not long ago. And the film is called, and it was her and her friend, Cara Delevingne. Okay, she's also involved with all this evil stuff. Okay, there are lots of them, but you know, it's called Freemasonry. Okay, Freemasonry. Masonry. Stone masons, you know, they're doing like cornerstone magic and stuff like that. Putting the corn on there and the oil and the wine. Yeah, you know, they do weird rituals. Yeah, that's what they do. So, what's a veil? You know, when you get married to a woman, right? She has a wedding, you know, she has the bride's veil over her face, doesn't she? Right? Veil Rhea. You know that saying, pulling the wool over your eyes? Veil Rhea. Okay. Also in Norse mythology you have Valkyrie. Valkyrie. So that's V-A-L. And that's the thing, Aaliyah Dana Houghton, right? V is 22. Aaliyah Dana Houghton died when she was 22. Okay? And so V-A-L. Al. Aaliyah. All. V-Al. You know, you've seen the film V for Vendetta? Yeah? He was Guy Fawkes. Oh, he was a Catholic, wasn't he? Yeah, he was a Mary worshipper. Yeah, of course. Remember, the 5th of November. Well, I was born on the 14th of November. 14th is 1 plus 4. Yeah? Guy Fawkes. Guy Fawkes. Or Guy Fawkes. Guy Fawkes. Well, Fox. F-O-X. 666. F is 6. O is 6. X is 6. 666. Okay? See, this is how I managed to be, yeah, anyway, look. I've pieced it, I know. I'm God. Okay, look. Valeria. So Rihanna and Cara Delevingne, they were in a film called Valerian, which is spelled the same as Valeria, except it has an N at the end, okay? It's called Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets, I think. And, that's a weird, it's a weird film. It's lots of CGI, it's like aliens and stuff and virtual reality. And, you see like these aliens that are on a beach, right? And they got these like magic pearls and they throw them in the sand, in this pit in the sand. And then like the sand, it's like it's got arteries and veins and stuff. And it's like pulsating and stuff. It's like some weird shit. It's magic. It's witchcraft is what it is. That's all it ever is. And at the very beginning of that film, I noticed that one of the studios that was involved with making the film is called Europa Corp, which is a very interesting thing because when I was 16, I had a girlfriend who was twice my age. She was 32, I was 16. Her name is Europa, which is a very interesting thing because I live in Europe back then we were part of the European Union. Okay, so it's Europe, pa. Pa means dad or father, right? I'm pa. And the thing is, you know, obviously, I mean, if you go to the headquarters of the European Union in Brussels, I guess. Is it Brussels? Probably. You know, they've got that, you know, excuse me, you know, they talk about, you know, they're building a Tower of Babylon, a Tower of Babel, right? And then outside there's a statue of a bull and a woman called Europa on top of the bull. Because in Greek mythology, you had Zeus, and he transformed himself into a bull, and he ran away with a woman called Europa. Okay? And the thing is that my evil mother was a Taurian, a Taurus, a bull. I'm Scorpio. Okay? And Z, well, that's the thing. Z is another way of saying asshole. Okay? Z us. You know? My mom was called Feces. Well, my mom was called Fee. Yeah? Like, you know, like this. This is absinthe. You know, I had a girlfriend called Anna Bilac. A-B. Yeah? You know the name Abba? Yeah? Abba. 12. 1, 2. Spin it around, you got 21. Look. La Fee sees. Witchcraft. It's what it is, witchcraft. Very alcohol. 68% volume. Strong spirit. You gotta be strong in the spirit. You understand? Witchcraft. I'm trying to explain it the best I can. So this is the thing. I had a girlfriend called Europa. That's a long story. I was with her for 3 years. She was a hoe. She was a real hoe. She really was. I met her in a club called Audio in Brighton. That club doesn't even, well, it's changed names multiple times. It used to be called The Escape, then it was called Audio, then it was called Patterns. What's it called now? Don't know. I think it's still called Patterns. Anyway, it was my favorite club in Brighton, Audio. It was my favorite. Anyway, I met her there, and I was you know, seeing her every weekend for 3 years pretty much. A so-called Polish Jew, or a Jewish Pole. Yeah, a Jewish Pole. And that's the thing, Europa is a moon of Jupiter. You know, let's talk about Greek mythology, Roman mythology. You know, what is that? Isn't Jupiter Zeus? Yeah, do you know what I mean? So, this is the thing. Witchcraft has been done against me. It's all been done against me to steal my power, is what it is. You know, I got this. My girlfriend after Europa was a woman who was about 9 or 10 years older than me, and her name was Jodie. Yeah, look at this. What does that say? Jeu de tarot. Yeah? Jeu de tarot. Her name was Jodie Orr. O-double-R. That was a very short relationship. But anyway. Europa. And this is the thing, right? Because, you know, I was talking about Valkyrie. You know, or Veil, Kyrie. Kyrie, you know, in Greek. You have the word Kyrie. Kyrie, or Kyrios. Kyrie means Christ. So now, if you have Val Kyrie, you know, what does that actually mean? So you had Aaliyah, who died when she was 22, or V, V-al, or veil, wedding veil. You know, it's the thing that's pulled across your eyes so you can't see. Veil, Kyrie, or Christ. Veil Christ. You know, I am Kyrie. I'm God. Alright? But that's the thing, which is, you know, Kyrie. Okay? You have Rihanna, Mary, Mariana, Ariana. But it's Rihanna, Robin Rihanna Fenty. That's the thing, because Rihanna is her middle name. It's her name which is in the middle. Do you get it? I don't have, my mum didn't give me a middle name. My middle name is Anne, or not applicable. N-A. Yeah, do you know who the Anunnaki are? Anunnaki? It's a battle of words that's happening here. Okay? It's complicated. So this is the thing, right? There was a documentary about, and it was called Europa, the Last Battle. Okay? Oh, what did Jesus say? He said, I am the first and the last. Okay? So what was the situation with Europa? I mean, at the time, I was 16 years old. I was taking drugs. I was having, you know, at school and at home, things were really bad. It was my mum. She was really abusing me. She was being very horrible to me. She was taking drugs all the time. She was screaming her head off, shouting her head off all day long. She was very abusive towards me. And I didn't have anyone to help me, you know, and I had a drug problem and a drinking problem. I was depressed. My academic work, it just totally fell apart. I started clubbing and I started seeing this woman called Europa. I met her and all I wanted to do was spend time with her, really. And she was twice my age. You know, she would come to my place on a Friday night. She'd come to my mum's house, right? So I was still living with my mum. You know, and then we'd go clubbing. You know, we would, and before that, I'd usually go up to my mum's room and I'd knock on her door and say, "Hey, mum, could we have some ecstasy, please?" And she'd like, "Go on then." And then I'd go down to the club with my girlfriend at the time. Yeah, that's what we do every Friday, pretty much every weekend. You know, that was my life. Partying, sex, party, sex, party, sex, party, sex. Yeah. Yeah. So I did, I was doing that with her for a couple of years, pretty much. It's interesting because, she was 32 years old. I lived at a house called 31 White Street. And like I was saying about S and T and 19 and 20 and how one precedes the other and having to understand how things are in relation to one another. Okay? And that's the thing. Where that house lived, behind the house was a building. The American Express building. Now, Europa, she was from New York. She'd been living in New York for probably near a decade. She was living in Brooklyn in New York. And she'd come over to visit her sister. And then she met me. And then she stayed. She said that she was going to stay in London. So she stayed with her parents in North London. And she would come and visit me every weekend. Okay, so yeah, a house actually got bought by American Express after my mum went bankrupt. And Europa, you know, she used to wear Converse All-Star shoes. Yeah, yeah. Evil witch is what she was, in my opinion. Yeah, and a whore. Total whore. Like, she literally was just trying to fuck everything, really. You know, I was always having to watch her. I was always having to, like, you know, I was always seeing her looking at other guys and stuff. And, you know, I was already depressed. You know, I needed someone to help me. And basically all I got was a whore. To make me more miserable, basically. Yeah. It was a very messy, my teenage years were very messy. Very messy. Yeah. Anyways. Um... Well, you know, I I am Pa. I'm God. My children are my children, and there are those who are not my children. So, who are you? What a crazy life I have, I tell you. Anyway, um, so I mentioned about Valkyrie. You know, Tom Cruise, he was in a film called Valkyrie, I think. I never watched it, but apparently it's about Operation Valkyrie, which is, it was an operation. It was to assassinate Hitler. And it was called Operation Valkyrie. Well, I have a vague understanding of what Valkyrie is in terms of Norse mythology, and apparently it's, it's like females who, and that's the thing, I'm male, and I came out of a woman called Faye. Okay, so Valkyrie are females who assist the dead, and I think yeah, that's the thing, they help, don't they transfer the dead to Valhalla, or something like that. So there you have that, Valhalla, yeah, or Valhalla. Yeah. So there's a lot of crazy magic going on. Imagine like 7 or 8 billion people trying to bind you with rope all at the same time. Imagine that. What would that look like, do you think? But they do it with their words. They do it with their stories. They do it with their false gods. Their demons that they claim are their gods. And it's all about attacking me. They all want to attack me, to take what belongs to me. See that? It will never work. It can't work. It's impossible for that to work. The only outcome from that is that people die. And what I mean is they are lost. to evil forever. You know, I cannot lose. Yeah, maybe I can lose. You know, I can never, in the long term, I don't lose. You know, over, you know, I could, you know, have a game of chess with somebody. I could lose that. You know what I mean? But I'm God. I'm God. I don't lose. I'm the serpent on the pole. Okay, this is how this goes. So people either, you know, people have to pay attention to me. People have to watch me. People have to. It's the only way to survive. It's the only way to survive. What's coming? What's here? What's happening? Look at the world around you. Riots, murder, invasion. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy though, isn't it? I mean, think about it. Yeah. You know, you got Rowan Atkinson, you know, the Mr. Bean guy. Now he's on. I saw, you know, he's apparently doing some speech about freedom of speech. You know, he wants, you know, he values it apparently. I find that, you know, okay, great. But does he value me? Does he value me? Does he value God? What does he think about God? That's what I want to know. Because that's what matters. That's what this is all about, really. You know, people want to talk about freedom of speech. Well, look. What this is ultimately about is whether people love me or not. Do you love God? Yes or no? So, and you know, people, they don't know what to say anymore. They're like, you know, they're not sure what they're allowed to say. They're not sure about, you know, this or that or whatever. You know, I'm gonna say whatever it is I'm gonna say, and you know, I don't have to worry about anything. You know, you know, this world. You know, can't do anything to me, really. I mean, the world can try to fight me, but you won't get anywhere with it. There's only so far people can get with me, and you know, people can try, but it's their downfall, not mine. Okay. Forgot what I was gonna say. Oh. Freedom of expression, freedom of speech. Yeah, and that guy Paul Thorpe, you know, he's come back from holiday. Just made a video. He's talking about how he feels and how it, you know, and all this stuff. Yeah. Yeah. I said in my last video, I said, you know, look, if you want freedom of speech, you have to look at who you have refused freedom of expression. You know, you can't, you know, if God, try to just imagine the situation, right? So you want your freedom of expression, yet you think other people should have their freedom of expression removed in case someone's feelings get hurt. When the shoot, you know, that's the thing. You have to take. Why would God, you know, if you find yourself, you find a bunch of people, you know, you find someone's put their foot on your neck, so to speak, right? Metaphorically speaking. Yet you have your foot on someone else's neck, metaphorically speaking. What's God going to say about that? You know? Think about it. What are the things you're not allowed to talk about? That's the thing. You know, people think, oh, who's the evilest man or evilest person who ever lived? You know, a lot of people would say Adolf Hitler. But the thing about this world is that those who speak the truth are mislabeled. And you can't trust what the world says. You have to be able to look for yourself. But then, what's happened? You're not allowed to look for yourself. Why is that? Ask yourselves that. You know, people want to get all confused about, yeah, but they did this and they did that, and we heard this and we heard that, and what about the Jews, and you know, what about the media and the porn industry and Hollywood and record companies and usury and money, yeah, but blah 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 blah. How are people so blind? How are people so fucking stupid? You know, they'll use any. That's the thing. Some people, they don't want to know. Some people will never see. Some people will never hear, even though their eyes are open and apparently their ears work. But that's the thing. People do not recognize truth when they see it. God does not love hypocrites. You understand? You want to be a hypocrite? Fine then. Burn in hell. Okay? Be fair. Do what's fair. Yeah? Do what's fair. Consider, the error of your ways before you start claiming you're a victim of the very thing that you have done to somebody else. Okay? Yeah, I was looking for films. Oh, I was looking for films and videos, anything that was connected with the word Europa. Because there's lots of films that are called Europa this or Europe, but there was that film. It's a 12-hour long film, and it's called Europa: The Last Battle. And it talks about, and it's actually on YouTube, to my surprise. I'm surprised it's even there. For all I know, it could be gone tomorrow, because it's not supposed to be there, maybe, but I don't know. But it talks about communism. It talks about World War II. You think about it. You think how many people are pro-communist these days. Communism is extreme. Is what everyone should be afraid of. That's what people should be really afraid of. Not Nazis or Adolf Hitler. It's communism that's the real threat. It always was. Who was on the side of the communists in World War II? Yeah. What's propaganda? Where does it come from? It's constant. Yeah. People either see the truth or they don't. Okay? I'm telling you, the truth will absolutely blow your mind. It will shock you. It will make you feel sick. Really sick. It did to me. I'll tell you that much. People are just getting what they deserve now, is what's happening. People are getting what they deserve. Because that's the thing, you ignore the truth, people get hurt. And if you ignore the truth, the only place you're going is, well, the only direction you could possibly be going in is hell, death, destruction. Okay? That's the only, you know, that's the thing. The path of truth is life. You know, if you ignore the truth, you're not going in that direction. You're going towards death. Okay? It's that simple. You know, that's as easy as I can put it for you. Okay? So, I've tried my best. I've been talking, you know, I've been doing this, you know, a long time now. It feels like. I decided a while, you know, years ago, I had to stop. I had to be careful. I have to be careful what I say. I have to be careful what I do. Well, I prefer it that way because I know Okay? And it's really annoying, you know. You put your head on the chopping block for other people, and then they're just like, nah, we don't care. Nah, whatever. You know, and you just think to yourself, what was the fucking point anyway? What a bunch of arseholes. Why even bother? Yeah, that's the thing. The people in this country who are, you know, they're desperate. They feel desperate. They feel angry. They're upset. The only way out of it is to find the truth. And that's me. That is me. I am the truth. Yeah, I'm God. So, things will get worse before they get better. Okay? The fact is, I'm extremely powerful. My light, my power, everybody, you know, I'm like the life support machine for everybody, for everything. Without me, everything dies. Okay? Evil demons, they do very evil, horrible things to steal my power. That includes, you know, and that causes a lot of death and destruction and pain and misery for people. And that can be solved simply by loving me. That can be solved by paying attention to me, by listening to me. That's the solution. That's, you know, that's what I want. I'm God. All I want is to pay attention to me, to hear what I have to say. And I can't even get that. It's so hard for me to get that. I mean, I might have one or two people who might listen to me. Through YouTube, maybe. You know. But, yeah. All I can do is hope that someone out there is listening and at least considering what it is that I'm saying. You know. You know, it might, you know, maybe someone might listen, it might not make sense to them. Maybe it might sound interesting. You know, maybe it sounds worth investigating. I am who I say I am. I'm God. Um, it took me a while. It took me a while to figure it out. It wasn't easy. I didn't want to believe that I was God. For a year of my life, I was like, huh? You know, I was confronted with the idea. I was like, that's blasphemy. How can that be real? How can that make sense, considering how my life has looked? Like, really? But I pieced it together and I figured out, yeah, it is who I am. Well, you know, I'm God. I could do what I want. Okay? Essentially, I've been left for dead, is what I am. The world, I've come back to the world, and the world, you know, this is all part of the plan. You know, the world was told, you know, people were told, do not judge. Love one another. Love your enemies. I've had a lot of witchcraft done against me. You know, we're living in the age of television, the internet, music, art. You know, people are just constantly doing stuff. Do, you know. There's so much stuff in this world now compared to thousands of years ago. You know, back when people used to live in tents and mud houses and whatever, right? You know, like, well, things were a lot more basic back then. You know, we're living in a crazy world now. Excuse me. Anyway, look, the fact is, I see, I've got a mustache now. I just thought, you know, yeah. I went to Charterhouse, okay? I went there 2001, September, okay? That was basically, well, it was, you know, it was when 9/11 happened, okay? I went there, and it was right after Leah Dana Houghton died in a plane crash, you know, on August 25th. I was in a house so, you know, the school has, you know, probably about, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 houses. It's got all these houses on the school grounds. And they house, I don't know, about 60 peoples each or something. And I was in a house called Pageites. And my house master was called Nigel Cooper. Okay, and he was a politics teacher. And he had a mustache, like this. And I always used to make fun of him. I always used to make fun. I used to be like, oh yes, I'm Nigel Cooper. I'm blah blah blah. You know, I used to always make fun of his accent, right? He used to drive 2 Jaguars. He had 2 classic Jags in his driveway. I drive a Jaguar now, actually, strangely enough. Yeah, and you know, I was a smoker, so I started smoking. He put me on. There's a school. You know, I'm mentioning this because of witchcraft, okay? Because it's important. I was put. There was a school marathon that happened every year, and it was called Pontifex. Now, Pontifex is, you know, it has to do with, I suppose, you know, like the Pope is the Pope the Pontifex? The Pope, you know, I think it's called, yeah, Pontifex is like a, alright, let's have a quick look, okay? What does Pontifex mean? A man on the highest council of priests in ancient Rome. A high priest, a pontiff. Okay, so there was a marathon at the school, and and I was made a marshal. I was a marathon marshal. So all I had to do was stand in the woods and just wait for people to come past. I was actually, I was smoking. You know, I'm like some 14, 15-year-old kid. And, you know, there's a marathon of runners, right? And I'm just standing there, just having this. And when I start to see the runners coming, I'm just like chucking on the ground. You know what I mean? Just stamp on it, you know, so no one, you know, and they were running past me, you know, probably getting a big waft of smoky air and stuff. But you know, I actually had the T-shirt for years. I took it home with me after I left the school, and it said Pontifex on the front, and it was a guy with he had like an oxygen mask on, yeah, and it had Marshall written on the back. And that's the thing, right? Because, you know, martial law. I had a guy I called a friend for years, and his name was Patrick Marshall Andrew. Okay? It's witchcraft being used against me. My, you know, Nigel Cooper, he put me on the asthmatics list. Asthmatics. Yeah. Mary, Rihanna. You know, I've told you about the one eye symbolism, the star, the Ankhon, the Con An. You know, the Ankh, yeah, the nail to the cross. Yeah, it's, you know, the World Trade Center. You know, what part of your body, you think about it, right? You know what I mean? If you go to the bank and you make a deposit, yeah? You go to the bank, make a deposit, yeah? You know, you're making a trade, right? You're depositing. But you can withdraw as well. Yeah. You know, what's a flipping heck? World Trade Center. What's world? It's earth, it's soil, it's shit. Yeah. 2 towers. The 2 of destruction. Yeah. Ace of Swords. Anal Fisher. Fisherman. Are you a fisherman? Are you a fisherman? What's a fisherman? You know, you noticed how oh yeah, who were the fishermen? You know, go read the Gospels. Who were the fishermen? What's a fisher? What's an F-I-S-S-U-R-E? Fisher. Anal fisher. You understand? There's a lot of crazy witchcraft happening, is what it is, okay? Cross-eyed. Cross-eyed, yeah? I've even got the one, what's it, Pennywise and it. Yeah, I've got a proper, I've got a wonky eye. You see how, my eyes are like starting to go wonky and shit. IT. I worked in IT. You know, I was a network engineer, Cisco network engineer. IT infrastructure. Third line. I had the director of IT, his name was Ian Arbuthnot, or Ian Arbuthnot. Arbuthnot. Ian. Christian. Interesting, because the second in line, he was the office manager. You know, he was the guy who was below the director of IT. His name is Gary Steen. And my aunt, who's a dog, you know, my Auntie Christine, or Auntie Christ, Antichrist, hates God, of course. Yeah. Thinks she knows everything. Christine. Yeah. And that's the thing, Brighton, you know, in the centre of Brighton you have the old Steen and the new Steen. Fucking unbelievable. The shit I have to fucking contend with. Everyone is, you know, imagine, what's the best analogy I can think of to explain this? You know, imagine every thought and idea that you think and it just being stolen by everybody else. And you're like, what the fuck's going on? You know, people taking credit for your work, credit for what you've done, credit for things you've said. You know, imagine you had a conversation and then you heard someone else completely copy you and pretending like it was from them instead of you. And imagine, 8 billion people doing it to you all at the same fucking time. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that. Because, it became apparent to me that something very strange was happening. I felt like I was being spied on. When I first realized, I thought, what the fuck's going on? I thought my computer had been hacked. I thought my phone had been hacked. I thought, it was like the CIA or NSA or MI5 or MI6. I thought I was being chased after by people or some hacker groups. That's what I originally thought when I first realized. And I was breaking it. I was like, fuck, what's going on? I bought myself a new router. I fucking flashed the firmware on it. I put, I set up my VPN through my router. I fucking threw my phone away. I bought a new one. I did all kinds of stuff to try and stop this thing happening. I was like, what the fuck's going on? It's like, why do I feel like I'm being spied on? Every time I speak, I feel like, I thought, what the fuck's going on? Every time I went to a YouTube video, I watched like George Bruno. I was watching him a lot at the time. And I felt like he was part of some, I thought he must have been like, some Freemason or some, secret agent or some shit. Like, I don't know what the fuck was happening. And it only clicked later on. I was like, oh, it's demons who are doing this. It's demons who are spying on me. And they're influencing people to say shit. And that's what it is. I'm God. And they want my power. Sounds like the ramblings of a total madman. That's what it sounds like though, doesn't it? That's what you're probably thinking. You're probably thinking, wow, this guy's fucking lost it. Belongs in a mental institution. Probably. That would probably be the first reaction most people would have. Yeah. I'm telling you the truth. I really am. Once you've seen it, once you've witnessed it, you can't unsee it. Once you see what's real, when you see that's the thing, the demons, that's the thing. What happened was I went far down the rabbit hole. That's the thing, I was looking for the truth. Then shit got really crazy. I'm surrounded by ghosts that touch me. I've been assaulted by demons. There were times I thought I was going to die. Okay? And it's a terrifying situation. And what's so hard about it is nobody believes the story. Imagine you got assaulted by demons. Who are you going to tell about that? Who can you talk to about that without sounding like a complete nut job? Yeah? that's the thing. When that happened to me, I was living in Brighton. And I was confused. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what to do. So I was terrified. And I decided I wanted to go to the cliff top. I wanted to go to where there's the Seven Sisters cliffs in Brighton. And I started walking there. And I'm getting assaulted by ghosts all the way there. Yeah. I mean, it's you know, the situation has improved, but it still happens. You know, it can happen. I've still got ghosts that surround me. I've got ghosts around me that I can trust, and I've got demons who will attack me as well. Okay? But the fact is that day I went up to the cliff tops, okay? And I wanted to go near the cliff edge. I wanted to pray. I wanted to ask, like, why has this happened to me? Like, you know, what do I need to do? You know, like, I wanted to repent. Okay? I wanted to repent, and I wanted to find a solution to the situation I was in. And the demons, they really didn't want me going anywhere near that cliff edge. The spirits that are around me, they didn't want me going that way. I went on a 10-mile walk that day, and the things I saw would make your eyes pop out of your fucking head. Okay? They really would. I've spoken about it before, and I'm not going to sit here and talk about it all again. Okay? Let's say angels, demons, visions. Very scary. It was very scary for me at the time. Okay? I was terrified. And if it happened to you, you'd be very terrified too. In fact, I don't think there are many people who would make it through that without... I don't know how many people would be able to survive that shit, because, yeah, they would have just been so... They would have been absolutely petrified, I think. See, at that stage, I already wanted to die. I was so miserable already. Like, I'd already got to the point where it was like, I hate my life so much. Like, I wasn't, you know, but for the average person who, you know, wants to live their life, you know, they don't want to die. They're terrified of that. Well, I'm not. You know, I was at that stage at that, you know, back then I wasn't terrified of death, really. I was terrified of life. That's what I was really terrified of, life, more than anything else. What most people would call life, but I look at it as death, really. Yeah. Anyway, so that day I went to the cliffs. So back then I didn't know anything about tarot. I didn't know anything about tarot. Nothing at all. Look. Oh, hang on a sec. Look, what's this? Okay, so what's this? This is the very first card you get in the tarot deck. See? He's a guy and he's standing on a cliff edge. The Fool. So what happened that day? Very strange, huh? It's very rare for me to go to a cliff edge. I don't normally go for walks. I don't normally go anywhere. And that day I just decided to do it because I felt like, I thought I could have died that day. I really did. Anyways, this video's been a bit of a ramble. That's the thing. There's so many different things. That's the thing. I'm constantly being attacked from every place you can think of, right? All, you know, I've got like a million, bazillion, gazillion weapons being pointed at me all at the same time. And I have to point them all out. You know, I can only do what I can do. The fact is that people have to bridge the gap. They have to be like, okay, you know, people have to work with me. You know, they have to listen to me. They have to hear what I say. They have to think. You know, I can't force someone to think, can I? I can ask someone to think. You know, it's like, you know, let's say, you know, you have a kid and they decide to go bungee jumping or something, or they decide that they're going to go out in their new car and they want to drive it, you know, 200 miles per hour down the motorway. And it's like, look, you know what will happen. You know, you say to them, you're like, yeah, think before you do anything dumb, because you might die. Yeah, it's kind of like that, basically. So, I've spoken about Conan. I've spoken about Valeria. So that's the thing, in Conan, right? Valeria, she dies. And at the end of the second film of Conan, you know, there's that woman who she becomes the queen. And she wants to be with Conan, and Conan's like, no, because he still loves Valeria, who's dead. And he wants to go find his own kingdom. And that's where it ends. That's the last Conan film with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I noticed there's a kids' cartoon called Conan, and I think there are comics and stuff, which I've never read. I've never watched any of that stuff. But that's the thing, you know. You know, he was crucified. He was resurrected. You know, he loved a woman. And that's the thing, she's dead. And obviously you have physical death and you have spiritual death, okay? You know, veil, lair. What's a lair? You know, a lair could be a dungeon. You know, Rihanna. Yeah. Do you think Rihanna has dungeons where she keeps? Maybe she, you know, do you know how evil she really, really is? Do you know? Do you know what goes on behind closed doors? You know, what kind of horrible, evil magic, sex magic, do you think people will do to become a billionaire? To become someone who is worshipped as if they're God or goddess? You know, what will people do to get that? Do you think? Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever considered what people in secret societies do in order to get what they get? Have you ever considered that? Or are you just one of those people, you just believe everything you're told through the television? You know, you sit there, you watch the television, and you believe whatever it tells you. Yeah. What more can I do for you? I stopped watching television years ago. I stopped watching it in favor of YouTube. I thought YouTube was way more interesting. You know, what I could find on the internet, way more interesting. I could learn a lot more from listening to people on the internet. You know, there was a guy who phoned one of these LBC commentators. It was like a radio call-in show, and you know, they were talking about migration, and and he's like, "Where do you get that information from?" He's like, "Oh, I read it on the internet." And it's like, "Yeah, but you just believe everything you read on the internet?" So you're gonna believe everything you hear through a television? Really? You think they're not spoon feeding you bullshit constantly? They're like, "Oh, we can't talk about this. We've got to censor this. We can't. Yeah, you can't talk about this because yeah. Oh, yeah. Whenever they don't want to talk about something, they're like, "Oh yeah, someone's feelings are gonna get hurt. Oh, we can't talk about that." And if you do talk about it, you're in big trouble. And people fall for it. They're like, "Oh, okay then. Better forget the truth then. Who cares then? Feelings are more important now, aren't they?" Well, if you've lost the truth, if you don't have the truth anymore, the only thing you're going to get is destruction. That's it. You either have truth or you have destruction. Truth or destruction. What do you want? Make your choice. You have to be prepared to fight for the truth. You have to be prepared to want the truth. If you really want the truth, you'll get it. You'll find it eventually. You have to. You have to want it enough. It has to be more important to you than your life. I mean, that's the thing. Years ago, I hated my life so much. I didn't want to live. The truth was all that was important to me. And so I would take the risks to find truth. To talk about truth. And that's the thing. People love their lives more than truth. They prefer Netflix. They prefer pornography. They prefer sex. They prefer getting drunk, laughing, having fun. That's more important to them. Hanging around with people who are stupid, who don't know any better. People who are ignorant. And people who have no interest in truth. All they care about is pleasure. They're pleasure seekers, attention seekers, worshippers of themselves, a lot of them, narcissists, etc., etc. Yeah. If you want to go to heaven, if you want God, if you want to be a child of God, you have to put God first. And that means you have to put the truth first. Okay? I'm here. I'm here. So, I think I will leave it there. I don't know what I'm going to call this video. I don't know. I'll think about it. Anyway, I'll make a video whenever I next make a video. Whenever I feel like I need to say something.